So I'm going to be showing you guys some photographs I took of this house. I want to offer my condolences to the victims, their families, and their friends. This is very tragic. The person who killed them is still on the loose, and that is not okay. And I pray that this person is found. I'll be showing you just some photos I took. So here you go. I took this photo yesterday. This one is very eerie because this is the living room, guys, and it says good vibes on this light. And because this is still a crime scene, they can't touch anything in the house. Like, they can't turn lights off that were already on and stuff like that. So there are still lights on in the living room. There's also some Christmas lights in there, which I'll photograph today, but this was the most eerie photo that I took because it says good vibes and something atrocious happened in this home. Here it is zoomed in, but this is the living room. So here's a photo of Madison's room, and I just found this interesting because this door is flung wide open, almost hitting the window. I don't know if this is a bathroom door or a closet door or just the door of the room itself, but if you zoom in, you can see some red tape on it right here. I think this could be evidence tape, and I'll show you why. Here's another picture I took of the front door with all this evidence tape, and that looks like the reddish tape or that little red dot that's on the door of Madison's room. It's just very, very sad. It's eerie. It's just to think what happened in this home, and just seeing this door flung open like that through the window just is really, really very eerie. Here's a photo I took from the backyard. This is the kitchen area. There are these two stools. Again, there was probably some of the victims fought for their lives, and there's going to be things toppled over, furniture all about, and I'm not exactly sure why these stools are like that, but here it is. Above those stools is this countertop in the kitchen. Here it is zoomed in a little bit. I don't know what's on the countertop, but yeah, I don't know. This was either Madison or Keely's room, and looks like a water jug and an arrow. On my YouTube, I go more in depth on this.
This case proves you should never judge a murderer before hearing their story. In an evening in 2014, Sarah Sands, a mother of young boys, left her London flat. She wore a hood pulled over her head and clutched a knife. Under the influence of 2 bottles of wine, she walked a short distance to a block of flats that housed 77-year-old Michael Plested. Once at the man's home, she confronted him and stabbed him 8 times. She made her way back home and then handed herself into police. So what made this seemingly normal mother kill an elderly man? The man she killed wasn't actually called Michael Plested at all. He'd actually changed his name due to being a convicted paedophile. So who were his victims? Sarah's 3 young sons. He targeted 12-year-old Bradley and his 11-year-old twin brothers Alfie and Reese. He'd lured the children into his home and SA'd them. He'd been able to change his name to Michael Plested due to a legal loophole that lets registered sex offenders change their name in order to get a new passport and even a clean DBS check. Sarah was quoted as saying, "He ruined my life and he tried to take away the most precious thing in my life. I'm never going to be able to take it away from them when they're screaming in the night. I couldn't tell them it was a dream because it wasn't. He was our living nightmare. It eats away at me because they're my babies. I'd give my life for them." Sarah was convicted of manslaughter and jailed for 7.5 years. She's now actually out of prison and is campaigning to change the laws to stop sex offenders being able to change their name and cheat the systems that we have in place to keep children safe.
Virginia man allegedly catfished a teenage girl online and travels to Southern California and kills her family. A former Virginia police officer believed to have murdered a teenager's family in Riverside, California, after catfishing her online. He was killed in a shootout while trying to flee authorities. The ex-cop was identified as Austin Lee Edwards, 28 years old, of Chesterfield, Virginia. According to police, Edwards develops a relationship online with the teen, obtains her personal information. He then travels from Virginia to Riverside, California, where he parks his vehicle in a neighbor's driveway and walks to the teen's home. At some point, authorities believe Edwards murdered the teen's grandfather, grandmother, and mother before walking back to his vehicle with the teen and leaving. Several hours after the bodies are found, Edwards was spotted driving with the teen through San Bernardino County. According to the release, Edwards exchanged gunfire with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies attempting to stop him and was shot by deputies and was later pronounced dead at the scene. The teen was unharmed and later placed into protective custody.
Breaking news, a judge has ordered that the Jeffrey documents be unsealed. The judge made her decision on Friday and said that the public interest outweighs the privacy of the 8 John Does. One of the individuals involved is a billionaire for Hyatt Hotels who says if this information would get released, it would cause him reputable harm. The judge also ordered that the documents for Doe 183 be made available as well. However, they are, quote, subject to intense media coverage, so she intentionally delayed the release to November 28th. It also allows the individual time to appeal her decision. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
What the police aren't telling us is that they probably know who the murderer is, and they've probably known since day 1 or 2 of the investigation. They're telling us that they don't have any suspects, and they're telling us that they don't have the murder weapon. You might ask, why are they lying to us, or why would they lie to us? It's not something that law enforcement would do. And if you speak to anyone who does work in law enforcement, they'd be able to tell you it's pretty common for them to lie in order to get further confessions or to break down the defense of their primary suspect so that more evidence comes about. In criminal science, there are 2 types of perpetrators. One is disorganized and one is organized. FBI profilers have said that the person who committed this crime was a sloppy, disorganized person. The typical profile of a disorganized murderer is somebody who did it unpremeditated in a frenzy. They're normally younger, it's their first time committing a crime, and they may be influenced by drugs or alcohol at the time of the crime. In other words, we're dealing with a murderer who didn't wipe their fingerprints away or do a good job in disguising who it is that they are. The primary suspect is more than likely being coddled right now by the police and told that they trust that they're not part of the murder, that they know that they're going through a hard time, and probably suggesting that this suspect relax and go home, in the hopes that the murderer will make a mistake, such as going back to the location where they hid the murder weapon, or that they would text a person information that they wouldn't have otherwise text if they were in a defensive mode. All of this information will just help make the case stronger against them, which will enable them to be prosecuted without much deliberation when it does go to court.
Take a shot, I'ma live until the sun comes up. You can't resist it, the city lights, I live for the moment. Need you in my life, anything to feel alive. Race through the back streets, gotta burn it up, just try and stop me. Life is going right tonight, 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 tonight.
Breaking news, a 7-year-old child has gone missing from her bedroom after getting into an argument with her stepmother. Authorities say the 7-year-old was reported missing by her stepmother on Wednesday around 5:40 p.m. She stated that she searched for the child about an hour before contacting authorities. Authorities said, quote, "We know there was a little bit of an argument between her and her stepmom last night, but it isn't anything unusual. There was an argument and the stepmother went to fix dinner. When she came back and Athena wasn't in her room." They searched for the child overnight into Thursday, and on Thursday they had other agencies involved such as the Texas Rangers, Fort Worth PD, Bridgeport PD, local fire departments, Wise County EMS, and search and rescue with K-9. Overnight into Friday, they said they used helicopters with thermal imaging but showed no presence of a child. She was last seen wearing a gray long-sleeve t-shirt with white flowers and a pair of jeans with white flowers on the pockets, along with a pair of brown boots. Here are some additional photos of Athena. If you have any information as to Athena's whereabouts, please contact authorities immediately. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.